before, when you pray, your relationships matter to God. Your relationships matter to God. Verse 25 says, but when you are praying, first, forgive anyone you are holding a grudge against. So that your Father in heaven will forgive your sins too. Pause here for just a second, because what he's not saying is that if you don't forgive someone, that all of a sudden you're losing your salvation. That's not what it's saying. It's not saying that you're going to lose your relationship with God either. You're going to lose your fellowship, but that's like any other relationship, isn't it? If you get into an argument with your kids or with your parents or with your spouse or with your friend, your best friend, what happens? They don't cease to be what they were before. Your parent doesn't cease to be a parent. Your kids don't cease to be your kids. Your spouse doesn't cease to be your spouse because you got into an argument or there was a grudge. You're still related to them. It's just the fellowship is broken. It's strained. See, the lack of faith is not the only obstacle to effective prayer or powerful prayer, but refusing to forgive or holding on to bitterness can also hinder your prayer. Holding on to bitterness. Because forgiveness is a choice. It's not a feeling, it's a choice. It's a choice you make. And are you harboring bitterness this morning or refusing to forgive someone? It's not wrong to struggle. I struggle with it myself. I struggle with grudges. I just do. I'm sure you guys do too, unless, you don't. But, we all struggle with that. But what do you do with that struggle when somebody hurts you? Let me give you two golden nuggets here and how to deal with that. And the first one is this. Pray for those who hurt you. And when I'm not saying this, now I'll be like, oh, awesome. Lord, I pray that they'll wake up. They got massive rash and they got to go to the doctor, And Lord, I pray that your judgment would just come on them. And when they're driving, that they would have not one, but two flat tires, so they'll learn, right? Or God, I pray, I see them in the restaurant. They're sitting over there. I pray that when they're eating that chip with salsa, that salsa falls in their shirt, That's not what I'm saying. That's not the kind of prayer I'm asking for, or that Jesus even is mentioning here. Is like when you pray for someone, you're praying that just they see the beauty and the wonder of who Jesus is, because that's what they need to know and see, the beauty and the wonder and the majesty and the awesomeness of Jesus. And you're going to see this. I can't promise you that person is going to change, but I can promise you that you will change. You pray long enough for somebody that you have harbored feelings against, you're going to start seeing your heart changing against that person. And you're going to start seeing your disposition in your heart move towards how Jesus looks at that person. And number two, you got to pray for restoration. And by restoration or reconciliation, what I don't mean with that is that now you're besties again with that individual. That's not biblical reconciliation. Reconciliation may be you're civil with that person. Your civility. You're not going to be giving them the dirty look, right? You're going to be civil. Here's a couple of things that forgiveness doesn't mean. The first one is this. It doesn't mean pretending like it never happened. Man, I see that a lot. Oh, you should pretend it never happened. Doesn't mean that you pretend it never happens. It happened. You can't forget it. I hear people say, oh, I forget real easy. Really? It's not about forgetting easy and just moving on. It's not like we pretend it didn't happen. That's not what it means. Number two, it doesn't mean removing all the consequences or legal consequences at that. It doesn't mean like, oh, I must forgive, so now there's no consequences for what happened. No, you still set your boundaries. If they hurt you, be smart. Be a wise person. Set your boundaries. If they've done it several times, guess what? It's going to continue to be happening in your life. Set your boundaries. Number three, it doesn't mean trusting an untrustworthy person. If they cheated money from you for the third, fourth time, Bubba, wake up. Be wise. It doesn't mean you're not being forgiven. It's just you're being prudent and you're being wise. What forgiveness is releasing someone from your desire for revenge. It's you're giving that person to God, saying, God, that person is yours. You will avenge. It's yours. You are the one. It doesn't mean that you're avenging yourself by the way you treat them either. It's like, no, God, they're yours.